There's someone in your life who never says no, who always shows up, always helps, never complains. The person everyone describes as honestly the nicest person I know. And behind closed doors, they're exhausted, they're invisible, and they are quietly furious. What nobody tells you about being too nice. Being nice isn't the problem. Let's be clear about that from the start. But there's a version of nice that crosses into something else entirely, and most people never even realize they've crossed that line. Psychologists call it excessive agreeableness, and the research is pretty uncomfortable. A study out of the University of Notre Dame found that people who avoid conflict at all costs are seen as less competent and less trustworthy by the people around them. Not because they're bad people. Think about it this way. If someone hyped up every single thing you did, every idea, every outfit, every decision, would you actually trust their opinion anymore? No, you'd stop asking. That's what's already happening to you. And here's the part that should make you stop scrolling. It's not just one area of your life. It's bleeding into all of them. Picture this scene. You've probably lived some version of it. You're in a meeting, you have a solid idea. But instead of just saying it, you say, I don't know, maybe we could try this, only if it works for everyone though. 20 minutes later, someone else says the same thing. Confident, no qualifiers, no apology attached. The room goes, great idea. That wasn't their idea, it was yours. But here's the part that stings. You trained the room to respond that way. Because nice people shrink themselves to make space for others. They soften their words so nobody feels threatened. They add, just wondering, and I could be wrong, and ignore me if this is dumb. And eventually the room takes them at their word. And you walk out of that meeting thinking you're not good enough. When the truth is, you were just too quiet about how good you are. But the meeting room is only where it starts. Because the real damage, it's in who it attracts. There's a reason manipulative people don't go after the loudest person in the room. They go after the nice one, every time. Because nice people feel guilty for saying no. So what happens? You end up with a circle full of people who show up when it's convenient for them, who call when they need something, who treat your kindness like a resource that doesn't run out. And you let it go on, not because you don't see it, but because saying no feels like proof that you're a bad person. So you say yes again, and they take again, and the cycle just continues. But here's what nobody tells you. The right people will respect your no. They won't need an explanation, they won't make you feel guilty, they'll just say, okay, no worries. The ones who guilt you for it, that guilt is the signal. Pay attention to that feeling. It's not telling you that you did something wrong, it's telling you exactly who that person is. Now, I want you to stay with me for this next part, because this is the one most people don't want to hear. Too nice people don't just sacrifice their time, they sacrifice their identity. It happens so gradually you don't even notice. You stop saying what you actually think. You order what's easiest for the table, not what you want. You bite your tongue in conversations that matter to you. You swallow your real reaction because you don't want to make it weird. And you tell yourself that's maturity. Psychologists call what builds underneath resentment debt. This quiet, simmering anger at people who never actually asked you to sacrifice anything. You volunteered. You gave it away over and over, hoping they'd eventually see how good you are, how much you do, how much you care. They never did, because you never showed them who you actually were. You showed them who you thought they needed you to be, and that's a version of you that slowly disappears. So what does the other side of this actually look like? Because I'm not here to tell you to become someone who bulldozes people. That's not strength, that's just a different kind of damage. Researchers call it assertive warmth. Being genuinely kind and being honest about what you need. Not one or the other, both at the same time. Think about the people you actually respect in your life. Are they the ones who agree with everything? Or the ones who are real with you, who tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable? Who push back at dinner and still pick up the phone when you're struggling? You already know the answer. Real respect is built on realness, not on being easy, not on being available, not on being liked. On being real. And here's what that actually looks like in practice, because theory without action is just a feeling that fades. First, the pause and check. Before you automatically say yes to something, pause. 3 seconds. That's all. Ask yourself, do I actually want to do this, or am I just afraid of what happens if I don't? That pause will reveal more than a year of therapy sometimes. Second, let one small disagreement land. This week, when someone says something you don't fully agree with, just say it. I actually see it a little differently. No over-explaining, no apologizing for having a view. Watch what happens. Most people won't leave. Most people will lean in. Because honesty is magnetic. We're all starved for it. Stop over-explaining your no. You don't owe anyone a 5-paragraph essay for why you can't make it to something. I can't make it is a complete sentence. I'm not available is a complete sentence. The more you over-explain, the more it sounds like you're asking for their permission to have boundaries. You're not asking, you're informing. Being nice got you this far, and that means you care about people. That's not a weakness, that's genuinely rare. But somewhere along the way, caring about everyone else became a way to avoid asking what you actually need. The world doesn't need more people who disappear into the background to keep the peace. It needs people who are strong enough to be honest, and kind enough to do it without cruelty. Some things go unsaid for too long. If this one hit close, the next video is about why confident people never try to prove themselves. And it explains a lot about why some people just get respect without chasing it. That one's already it.